Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the FanTC Podcast Network YouTube page. My name is Kody. I'm going to be taking you through one of the weekly winners under the Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Drafts. You can see here we're in a lobby waiting for it to fill, waiting for 8 more people. May have a little bit of a wait here before we get started, but I just kind of wanted to introduce this newer game to those who maybe have not checked it out yet. So if you have not yet, take a look at Underdog. I may actually put a description in the podcast, or this may be a podcast too. Who knows? But at least in the YouTube video, I'm going to put a description in there that will give you a link to sign up. Probably, I mean, I'm not sponsored by them by any means, but hopefully I could put my own link in there, and then whatever I get for you know giving someone a code, I just get back in credit, and then I can make more videos off of it. So that's going to be the plan on that front. Obviously not sponsored yet, but anybody who wants to come sponsor the page or the podcast, come on in, get in while the getting's hot and it's nice and cheap for you. But nevertheless, these are weekly winners. So what Underdog has done, if you're not familiar with Underdog, we'll start there since we'll probably have a couple of minutes anyway. Underdog Fantasy does best ball drafts. It's really what they only specialize in. And what that does is you draft a 18 to 20 man team, and each week basically it just accumulates points. And over the course of the year, like through week, I believe 14, that's going to be your regular season. If you're the top two or top three in your draft, your initial draft like we're doing right now, you move on to the playoffs, where obviously money just gets more and more and more. That's the way the traditional ones work. This one's a little bit different. Also, I apologize. I don't know if it's allergies or what's going on. I have been just non-stop stuffy for literally weeks on end now. So if it comes through with poor audio, it's probably not the audio. It is probably me. But this one changed it up a little bit. So it's not just going to be the here we'll do. So 18 round draft for these weekly ones. And what it does, let's just pull up all the rules real quick. Okay, I'm not doing all that. That's going to be a much easier transition. But basically, what it does is it breaks out, there's basically up to 20 something $1,000 each week that they're giving out for this event or for this game. And what it basically does is each week it just all resets. So instead of accumulating points week after week after week, every week's a completely new slate. So if you have the Mahomes Kelsey stack and one week, they both have a terrible game, it's not, you don't have to worry about the repercussions past that one week. If they come back the next week and Kelsey has a 3 touchdown game, Mahomes has 4 to 5 touchdowns, yada, 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 the rest of your team does good, you can be right back in the winner's circle. So it's a little bit different. There's a little bit more ways to win, a little bit more strategy involved in this one. Obviously, we're looking at what weeks teams play each other, and really divisions help quite a bit. If you can get, like a Chiefs Chargers stack, which is very difficult, but something like that, maybe throw a Josh Jacobs in there with the Chiefs stack or something like that, to where you are getting both parts of a matchup and a potential blowout is what really helps you accumulate points on a weekly basis. Whereas maybe a week where they don't play each other, they have rough weeks, it doesn't really hurt you as bad. And really what I like about it, I've seen some stuff on social media saying that they don't really love the payout on this. I think it's, the professionals, if you want to call them that, they're a little probably more afraid of the parity, because with it just being every single week, I mean, there's just going to be one week where someone's going to draft just a what the hell kind of lineup and win 20 grand that week because Zay Jones has 3 touchdowns, followed up by the backup running back for this team that this person drafted also had a 2 touchdown week. The quarterback, it's just there's so much parity, I think, on this week to week basis that even if you're newer, but you just want to have a little bit of stake in one of these, but you don't want to get into one of the season long tournaments because you don't feel like you're as ready for that, then I think this is a great option for you. Again, weekly payouts as well, which I personally love, because if you want to do weekly Underdog or anything like that, you could potentially build that bankroll as the year goes on. Also, again, shout out to Kirkland Signature Cold Brew. It is absolutely fire. Costco, get in on early. We could be the first official podcast sponsored by Costco. Maybe. I honestly don't know if they are or not. But again, no free shout outs. Fuck Costco until they sponsor us. All right, come on. One person join. Let's get this bad boy rolling. What are we about? 6 minutes in? Yeah, it's going to be a long video. Just a heads up. I'm actually going to get a little pen and paper ready. Actually, fuck it. I'm not going to timestamp my picks. If you're not here for the whole video, fast forward, do whatever you got to do. I don't really give a fuck. I'm just sitting here making some content, grinding, getting ready for some fucking fantasy football season, man. I'm so excited for it to come back. So excited to see what the podcast is going to do, the YouTube's going to do this year. I mean, we are just going to be grinding on the content side. All right, we are filled. Let's see where they wants to put us here. The 1.5. Don't hate that right now. Specifically at the 1 point once I would say 1 through 7 I feel pretty good about, and then once we get past 7 I feel like there's a little bit of a fall off. But 1 through 5 I absolutely love, because then you get you have the Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Travis Kelce. Most likely all three are going to be gone. I mean, we'll see about Kelce. Kelce's ADP, he's a top 3 pick in so many of these drafts, which I totally understand. I mean, he's phenomenal, but it just it handcuffs you to a certain extent, because if you want the Kelce Mahomes stack, you basically have to hope he falls to you in the second. You can't even risk him going to the third, because he won't make it there. He probably won't make it back to me by the time my second pick comes around. So that's why the Kelce side of things, I don't mind it, but I'm not like in love with drafting Kelce this early in the first round. Um, Really, my number one goal is Cooper Kupp falls to me. If I get Cooper Kupp at the 5th pick, that is my absolute dream right now. I think points per game last year in the games he played, he was still number one. See, there you go. Kelce just right back to where he goes. If Cooper Kupp goes now, it's an easy CMC pick for me also. I mean, CMC falling out of the top 4 to 5 is just atrocious. So I think I still lean to Cooper Kupp slightly over Christian McCaffrey. We'll see how it falls out, though. The reason being is, darn. The reason being is once we get back to the 2-3 turn, we're going to have guys like JT, Saquon, Pollard to choose from. And then the wide receivers get a little bit more iffy. But CMC, I mean, he's the best running back in the NFL right now. And he's the best running back for fantasy football, by a decent margin, at least at this point. Obviously, Austin Eckler, 1.6. I love that. I think Austin Eckler is getting a little bit of disrespect. They really didn't bring anyone into LA to really replace him or to try and take carries away from him. He just wanted more money, which is what the whole offseason has been about for them. So that's why I'm not too worried about Austin Eckler. Tyreek, A.J. Brown. Love the Tyreek pick. A.J. Brown, another guy I'm not iffy on, but just the Eagles had such a great year last year. Can they really repeat that back to back? And, this is where I just, if I'm drafting, I think if I go running back, I don't mind grabbing a Devontae Smith later in the draft, or something like that. But to use my first pick on A.J. Brown, I mean, I've said this multiple times, and I know that, the YouTube hasn't really taken off quite yet, but when you're drafting A.J. Brown, you are really hoping that you're getting what he did last year. Like, that was probably as close to the ceiling as it's going to get. Unless he has a huge outlier touchdown season, I don't really see him moving up to another level than what he was last year. And to be fair, that is a first-round wide receiver. But if Jalen Hurts gets hurt or Devontae Smith is the one with the touchdown luck this year, it just becomes a lot more risky, in my opinion. Oh, sorry. I also don't mind this somewhat middle pick, like upper middle pick, because you don't really have to reach on as many guys as you do when you have the turns. You can kind of just sit back and wait for who you want as opposed to, having to be like, I really want this wide receiver that's 12. His ADP is 12 picks from now, but there's no shot I get him. I have to take him now. You can play the ADP game a little bit better when I feel like you're in the middle of the drafts because you don't have as many picks in between. But let's see. We are 5 picks away. At this point, I'm not looking quarterback. I don't have any reason to try and stack Mahomes, Allen, or Hurts, and I might not have the opportunity to. Jeez. Um, yeah, look at that. That's exactly what I mean. If you take Travis Kelsey with the first 3 picks, there's no chance you're stacking it with Mahomes. And in this matchup, this format, I want the stack. So I don't necessarily love it. Yeah, Garrett Wilson would have been my pick if he would have fallen one more spot to me. Um, this one's a little bit tough. I love Pollard. I love Jonathan Taylor. I love Saquon. So it's really just calling your shot on one of them. And I just don't love the Indy situation. The Giants situation, I feel like, is better, maybe more potential scoring. But Pollard was amazing last year with Zeke being in the house. I think there's a chance Pollard's the RB1. And I'm currently sitting here through 2 picks with potentially 2 players who could be the RB1, which is what I love to do when I'm doing these drafts. And then obviously on this end, this is going to be at the shorter end of our turn. So we'll see who falls back. We obviously need to get a wide receiver. Um, let's see, we're 7 picks away. I'd imagine those 3 get taken. I'm perfectly fine if DK falls to me. I'll take DK as my first wide receiver. I would take Mark Andrews if Mark Andrews falls 7 more picks to me to the 3rd round. Perfectly fine with that as well. Um, let's see, we went Pollard. This is what I mean right here when you're looking at it. We went Pollard and we went McCaffrey. So we're kind of sticking with some NFC teams. Not saying that I'm going to do my whole draft focused on that because you never know who could have a huge week from any of these teams. But, if it comes down to a Chris Olave versus T. Higgins, I'm probably going to lean Chris Olave and just go ahead and take the NFC teams. Granted, I guess I don't really know if the Cowboys play them or the 49ers. I know the 49ers will play the Cowboys, though, obviously, with it being division winners. Ooh, Joe Burrow off the board already. Wow. In my last draft, Joe Burrow went much later, so very surprised to see him go on the 2-3 turn. Let's see, this is the first overall pick, and that's idiotic to me. Like, why are you stacking Joe Burrow with Justin Jefferson and Lamar Jackson? And granted, I'm not trying to say I'm a professional here, but whenever I'm doing these drafts, I want to go these onesie positions, that's what they're called, for quarterback and tight end. I never want to grab 2 of them this early. You're sacrificing so much depth already at this point that I hate that pick, honestly. I hate that 2-3 turn for them. I think that's a terrible pick. Here, I mean, it's easy to go Henry Ramondre or Josh Jacobs and just absolutely lock down my running back core. Um, but the issue is by the time I'm getting into my next couple of picks, like there's going to be an Alexander Madison, a Cam Akers, and Miles Sanders later on. I'm more than happy with drafting. Whereas the wide receivers, I don't think are going to be at the same tier. So I'm going to go ahead and take DK Metcalf, who I think is being just completely disrespected over the drafting of JSN. I mean, the guy was a very high caliber fantasy wide receiver. Obviously, JSN is going to be really good, but do we really think JSN is coming to take away from the absolute specimen DK Metcalf is? No. No, JSN is the eventual replacement for Tyler Lockett. Maybe he becomes better than DK. That's fine. But you give me DK on a streak, 3 times a game. I'd imagine he's coming down with, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns over the course of the year, easy. So I just like DK Metcalf quite a bit. We'll see what happens with Geno again this year. But even, that's an easy stack if I wanted to go Geno late. And that's kind of leaning into the 49ers Seattle thing as well. So I personally like that pick quite a bit. I'm a big fan of DK, and I think he's getting a little disrespected this year when it comes to fantasy drafts. He's a guy I'm probably going to end up with a bunch of my teams because he's falling much further than he needs to be. Jahmyr Gibbs, Brees Hall, Justin Fields with the 310. All right, Debo goes off the board. I mean, we're 7 picks away. Let's take a look at the wide receivers that we're going to have. I mean, I'm happy. I mean, McLaurin's probably going to be on the lower end of wide receivers I'm looking at, but Keenan I'd be happy with. I guess McLaurin technically may be the right pick. Drake London, I can't draft Drake London personally. I think Desmond Ritter's the probably worst quarterback in the NFL next year. So hard to really trust Pitts or Drake London when potentially they have the worst quarterback in the NFL throwing to him. But Hawkinson, I hate Hawkinson early. Not necessarily the player or the prospect, but just Bijan, Jameer, Amon-Ra, and Hawkinson. So again, this guy definitely riding a pretty hard NFC slant right there. Let's see, 4 picks away. Keenan Allen off the board. Yeah, if Keenan Allen would have fallen me, that would have been a pipe dream, but it would have been the easiest pickup ever. So Najee Harris is off the board. So when I'm sitting here looking at this, I'm just gonna go. Calvin Ridley, meh. I'm a little scared. Christian Watson, no. Mike Williams, no. I'd rather get Quentin Johnson later. No. Terry McLaurin, definitely up there. Drake London, no. DJ Moore, no. Brandon Ayuk, meh. So it's between Terry McLaurin and Calvin Ridley, and I'm just gonna go McLaurin. If I can draft him in the last second. There we go. I personally love Terry McLaurin. I think he is kind of another guy who's just insanely disrespected. He's been a very high tier caliber for fantasy basically since he's entered the league. And personally, I mean, I've taken Calvin Ridley in a couple of drafts, and I understand the idea of drafting Calvin Ridley with the hope that he turns into what he was or can be 90% of what he was. But, who have we seen take over a year off of football and come back and be able to be very good at the NFL level? We saw what Deshaun was last year. We saw what Le'Veon Bell was after he took time off. It's just one of those things, in my opinion, when you're out of the game for that long, you're coming back to a new system, a new quarterback. It's just very iffy for me. I can't run the risk of him just being meh at my 4th pick. Terry McLaurin, like I said, has been great for fantasy football, regardless of who his quarterback has been. If Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett could just feed him a little bit more consistently, I think he'd be amazing. So this is where we're getting into the D Hop part of the draft, where it's a little iffy on whether or not you want to take D Hop. Obviously, someone's going to. My only issue with taking D Hop is I just don't know where he's going to go. If he goes to the Titans, I think D Hop's a great option for fantasy. If he goes somewhere like the Bills, then I think both him and Diggs get a little bit of a grade down. So I've been avoiding him for now. Obviously, as we get a little bit closer to the NFL season, we see who is still available and whatnot, where he goes. I think his value goes up a little bit. All right, so this is where I get a little bit iffy in the drafts here. I don't love DJ Moore. DeAndre, I'm a little meh on. I want to get one of these lower end, but I wouldn't mind just waiting to get one of these with my next pick. Lockett's there. Don't want to double up there. Oh boy, it's tough. Oh, I'm gonna get auto drafted. God damn it. Who did I get? DJ fucking Moore. Fuck. God damn it. Why the fuck does it fucking pull the draft thing all the way down here? Like, come the fuck on, man. Well, we're riding the NFC pretty fucking hard in this draft now. Damn, that sucks. That's why you have players queued. But I had no idea who I wanted to go there. I wanted Christian Kirk because I wanted to try and stack him with Trevor Lawrence because Trevor Lawrence's ADP has been falling quite a bit. But is it falling to 68? Probably not. Dang it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Not very happy with that selection. But it's basketball. Any given week, DJ Moore could go off for a couple of touchdowns. So I'm not going to be overly upset about it. It just is what it is at this point. See, Madison, I like. Dobbins, I don't mind. Only thing about Dobbins I'm a little iffy about is he just doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield quite a bit. And, in best ball, okay. Well, I mean, this guy's just praying that his quarterbacks go nuts every single week. I don't even get that. I don't. Like, you take Jalen Hurts with literally what the 15th overall pick. Okay, that's also beyond fucking annoying. Like, let me just stay on the team I'm looking at. And then you just turn around and grab another quarterback just a couple of picks later. I think that's idiotic. Like, you're basically betting on Jalen Hurts being super good again this year. Just bet on Jalen Hurts. There's no reason to bet on uh, Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts. See, glad I did not wait for that Trevor Lawrence stack to come back to me. And he ended up getting, see, again, another double quarterback. I may have to do some research on people doing double quarterback in this one. I think that's idiotic. I just do not understand. If you're going to go double quarterback, why wouldn't you just grab two lower level quarterbacks and just hope they kind of just go back and forth on who has good weeks? Like there, what if I mean, you're also maybe blocking another team from being able to. Oh, Miles Sanders, no, dang, good pull by this guy though. I like Miles Sanders a lot. Give me Cam. I want another running back. I think he's the next guy up. We may have to look at potentially going early quarterback. I mean, at this point, I'm not really looking super stackable. Obviously, Justin Fields is gone. We could get Gino later if we really wanted Gino. We could also get Sam Howell later if we really want Sam Howell. Just not really sure how hungry I am for either of those two guys to be my quarterback. I wouldn't mind grabbing a Sam Howell later in case him and McLaurin have a crazy game, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so let's get rid of these quarterbacks here. Let's see what our wide receiver running backs are looking like. He's a sneaky guy. I think he's going to have an insane year for fantasy as a wide receiver too. Brandon Cooks. And he's honestly in consideration here. I mean, we got three more picks. I would say Jordan Addison's going to be my number one guy if he's there, just because, the rookie breakout. And if we're looking at weeks 15, 16, 17, that's when rookies tend to really break out. And then I think Brandon Cooks would be my next guy. I mean, I personally am a big fan of Brandon Cooks this year. Obviously, riding the NFC wave. Actually, that's not true. If Mike Evans does make another trip down, I think I got to go Mike Evans just for his big playability in best ball. I didn't realize that was Mike Evans there at the top. So, yeah, I mean, you got to go Mike Evans here. I mean, granted, I know he wasn't very good for fantasy last year. He always finds a way to get up to the 1,000 yard mark. He's going to have games where he has multiple touchdowns. And if that's the case, I want that on my team. I mean, as my fourth wide receiver, he was drafted above DJ Moore, above Terry McLaurin, and probably DK last year. So to grab Mike Evans at the 77th overall pick, I'm more than happy with that. Only issue is I hate Baker Mayfield, and not on a personal level. I just think he's a terrible NFL quarterback, and I don't really like trusting my fantasy assets with him. So that's probably the hardest thing for me at this point, but that just kind of is what it is. Mike Evans is the kind of guy he can streak, and similar to DK, you just put the ball up there around him. There's a good chance he can come down with it. So we are going to take Mike Evans. Let's see here. 10 picks away. Here's a little lower tier. See, this is exactly what I wanted to avoid. The Pacheco, DeAndre Swift, Rashad White running back tier. Like, with the three guys I got, I really don't need to be, like, reaching, or not reaching, but having to draft one of these guys, even though I'm not super confident in them. A couple of guys with only one running back coming up. I would say if James Conner falls to me, he's going to be my number one, my next pick without a doubt. I think he's the most valuable asset in Arizona right now, outside of maybe Hollywood Brown, if you believe that he could sustain without Kyler there for potentially half the season. But I think James Conner, man, I think he was a top 5 running back for over the course of the last 6-8 weeks whenever he came back last year. So he provided plenty of value for fantasy football. He's a little bit older, obviously, so I'm sure it's scaring off some people. But James Conner is another guy that's up there that he will end up on a lot of my fantasy rosters as long as his ADP doesn't completely shoot up. Deshaun Watson. Let's see what else we got here. See, and then once you get down into this tier of running back, like Samaje is really the only guy I want once I get past here. So that's why I'll probably look, if James Conner falls to me in 6 picks, I'm snagging James Conner without a doubt. Did this guy just go Deshaun Watson, Elijah Moore for the stack? Love it. Love it. This guy's team is terrible. Deshaun, Nick Chubb. Oh, nope. This is the other guy. The other guy that's closer to my turn has a terrible team. Yeah, it's my team. It's just fucking terrible. CMC, Tony Pollard, Cam Akers, DK, Terry, DJ, Mike Evans. What a fucking garbage team they build in there. Brandon Cooks falling this far is also very criminal. I mean, if the pipe dream of Brandon Cooks or James Conner making it all the way back to me is amazing. If both of them do, it's a little bit of a decision, but I think I just go James Conner because I want more of a workload running back as opposed to a wide receiver 2 to 3 that I could, get 3 rounds from now out of somebody. Damn. Oh, come on. You already got 3 running backs. You do not need James Conner like I do. Let's go. Let's get that fucking James Conner, baby. I'm fucking pumped with this team right now. We are loading up on NFC fucking teams, and it's not even really costing us. It's not like we're reaching on NFC players over some AFC options. I mean, we are just getting a loaded team built up here. Let's see. David Njoku is still out there. Well, if David Njoku falls to the Cleveland Browns fan, I'm sure he'll get taken. I would consider Anthony Richardson. I'm just going to throw that out there at this pick. We're at the 9th round. He's a little bit below ADP at this point. I think his ADP is still a little bit too high, but I mean, geez, any given week, this man could probably run for damn near 200 yards like Justin Fields was doing last year. So that's the one thing about Anthony Richardson where it's just like, man, it's tough to keep passing on him because if he turns into the Justin Fields type and is just running all over, it's tough to give that up. Ooh, Samaje goes. Honestly, I'm very thankful that did happen because it would have been tough to pass on Samaje, and I don't think I really needed another running back at this point. Okay, there. So now the pick's going to become a little bit more difficult for me here. Because we're still another round away from Geno really needing to be in consideration. Tight end wise, you got Njoku, you got Freiermuth. See, I'm not like in love. Like I like Njoku, but let's see. Okay. Oh shit. Yeah, I don't really love any of these guys actually. We're gonna go ahead and just snag Njoku. I think he just again Similar to Anthony Richardson, I think he has just a certain ceiling at his position that other players do not, just based on physical talent. And I'm going to take. I'll probably look to grab another two tight ends, preferably. Like I don't think Njoku's the kind of guy that you draft in the ninth and you're like, I'm happy with that. He did get injured a little bit last year, but and I can't really remember what his split was with and without Deshaun. So that's something worth looking at also. But to be fair, besides I think Donovan Peoples Jones, everybody's production went down once Deshaun Watson came back. So I'm not going to necessarily let that skew me away from drafting certain players or not drafting certain players. If you believe Deshaun Watson can come back and perform as an NFL quarterback, I wouldn't worry too much about uh, where you're drafting these players. Because if Deshaun Watson comes back and looks like Houston Deshaun Watson, there's going to be a lot of fantasy value spread around Cleveland. Dang, my hope for Gino did not come through, but Dak, like going Kirk and Gino over Dak, like are these guys completing stacks? The TJ Hawkinson stack, so I get that, and then Gino, stop doing that, motherfucker. Gino, JSN, Tyler Law. Oh, he's Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Nick Chubb. So this guy's kind of running the same slant that I am, but I'm personally going to say in a way worse way. I mean, I don't even know if Cleveland plays Seattle. If they do, it's just going to be 1 week. And I don't think that I am doing that. Dude, what is going on? Like, does Dak Prescott have bad news out there that I have just not seen yet? The challenge for Dak. I mean, is Dak still there? Motherfucker, of course not. Okay, so we're looking. Ooh, what are we at? We're 4-4-1. Give me Devon. Give me Devon A Chain, man. I think he's going to be a standout this year at the running back position. He's just so fast. The way that Miami wants to play that offense, I mean, screens to Devon A Chain that he takes 60 yards to the house are completely in picture for the rookie. And you don't really get that out of a bunch of other guys. So I personally love Devon A Chain going into his rookie year. Also, I'm a little more iffy on the rookie running back class. Obviously, you got Bijan. If you're in a dynasty or whatever, you're going to take him 101. But outside of him, who's really the number two running back that's going to come out of this class? Who knows? Especially in year one, I think Devon Achane can absolutely be that guy in that Miami offense. Also, I know a lot of people are going to say, like, they're looking at taking Dalvin Cook. Does that concern you at all? Not really. No. I mean, if they add Dalvin Cook, does that kind of suck for me? A little bit. But in my opinion, I think that, Dalvin Cook's really coming in there to replace the two older guys, Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert. I mean, Mostert's sneaky old. Like, I don't think they're really going to have him try and be too much of a factor this year. Jeff Wilson, Hefe Wilson, he's also a little bit older. So, if they get Dalvin Cook in there, I can see those three doing a little bit, but I think Devon's just going to separate himself in that backfield by quite a bit. All right, here we go. I don't mind snagging Aaron Rodgers. Let's see what other quarterbacks we got. Stafford later. Yeah, I'm going to take Rodgers here. And I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers for fantasy football fan. And I think there is a chance that he kind of just returns to what he was and he's just kind of meh again like he was last year. But we saw what Brady did in Tampa his first 2 years, actually. We saw what Matthew Stafford did his first season with the Rams. Obviously, Russell Wilson's the anti version of that. But when we take a look at those, if Aaron Rodgers comes in and he puts up a top five fantasy performance coming in the 11th round, love that. Love it. Love Aaron Rodgers coming. Also, at this point, we're not really looking at. Only thing I'm maybe looking at adding is a Sam Howell later in the draft. Am I gonna go three quarterback, three tight end? I think I could just based on my current team. How many more picks do I got? Yeah, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven more picks. And that means four out of the seven would be tight end and quarterback. I don't hate that, as weird as it sounds, and just snagging, a random rookie or. I mean, honestly, I don't really mind Adam Thielen. Like a precision or route runner with a rookie quarterback pans out a lot more than you'd expect. Um, once we get down here, you're really Paris Campbell's had a lot of offseason hype. Let's see if it says that about him. Staying busy. No, they just say staying busy because he's been playing running back also, which is kind of funny. Kenny Pickett way down there. I wouldn't mind snagging me a little Kenny Pickett. But really, at this point, quarterback, tight end. I mean, we're probably just looking to pick bottom of the barrel guys. I don't know if there's really a quarterback that I am out to get. I mean, I wouldn't mind snagging a Matthew Stafford. Wouldn't mind snagging a Russell Wilson if he falls. I guess, but I'm still kind of meh. I guess actually, I'm looking at NFC quarterbacks here, and then Sam Howell, and then tight end here. Well, Chick falls through these next three guys. I'm taking Chick-Okonkwo. I mean, he is one of my favorite tight ends. I loved also drafting Taysom Hill. I don't know if I'm taking Taysom Hill necessarily early before his ADP. He does fall. Dulcich over Okonkwo? Wow. Interesting. Damn. Oh, man, I do get a chance at Chick. Yeah, I mean, this is an absolute best ball play here. I mean, this guy looks the part. I mean, he looks like an absolute monster, just an insane athlete that I want on my team, and I'm going to happily take him. At this point, honestly, I'm hoping Van Jefferson falls to me. I'll probably pass on Taysom Hill. Honestly, with Chicken and Joku, I'm really cool with just punting and just grabbing some really late tight end. I don't really need to spend another pick on it. There goes Van. Yeah, great pick, honestly. I would have taken Van if Okonkwo would have been taken before me. Let's see, where are we at in the draft? Oh, there goes Taysom. See, I don't mind that at all. I think, especially in best ball, you never know any given week where Taysom's going to have one of his 2 to 3 touchdown weeks and 100 yards of running or receiving or whatever the fuck it's going to be this time. Because he just likes to just throw a complete wrench in fantasy football. He's also been lining up a lot of slot wide receiver or something like that in camp, so all kinds of weird stuff going on. So there is one name out of these wide receivers and running backs I'm looking at right now that is just on the top of the list for me. That's going to be Tyquan Thornton if he falls all the way to me. I personally think that he could be the number one wide receiver for the Patriots. And I know a lot of you casuals are going to be saying, why would you even want the number one option for the Patriots? Oh, Devontae Parker just got a new contract. Oh, they brought in Juju. DeAndre may go there. I don't care. Tyquan Thornton's a completely different wide receiver than all of the guys you just listed there. He's a speed guy. He's an option guy. He's going to be a guy that's thrown into the offense to do different things. Also, what's fucking wild, Rashee Rice, ADP at 136. Who the fuck's taking Rashee Rice that early? And you need to get some help. I'm a Chiefs fan, and I hope Rashee Rice is the greatest thing to touch a football field since Jerry Rice at the wide receiver position. But I mean, when has a rookie wide receiver for the Chiefs been effective for fantasy football? I'll wait. Let's see. Is it 18 picks? I think it's 18 pick draft. Yeah. So I still have 5 more picks to go. I knew this was going to take a while, but man, I am starting to get a little tired. Oh, there we go. There's Rashi. Or Rashi. I don't actually know how it's pronounced. I can't remember where we're at in the draft, but if the guy who got Olave can stack him with Derek Carr this late, like that's why I like going for some of those like Cooper Cup, Chris Olave types in these drafts because the stack is just so easy later in drafts, as opposed to going someone like a Stephon Diggs and immediately. Well, I mean he's at a different point, so that's a stupid comparison. I guess he's there with Cooper Cup, but like I take Cooper Cup over Stephon Diggs in this format just because I know I can stack him with Matthew Stafford later in the draft. Excuse me. Sorry. Just make sure we're still recording. We're only at 42 minutes. This isn't terribly long. Hopefully, it's been entertaining for you guys. I know I'm working on the entertainment factor as a part of my videos instead of just spitting stuff at you guys constantly. 2-2-1. There's a chance I get Matthew Stafford, which I would be happy about. I mean, so we're looking. I mean, the ADP between Derek Carr and Matthew Stafford are relatively similar anyway. Let's go. You took the right guy. Matthew Stafford has top 5 fantasy potential. He proved that 2 years ago. Derek Carr is nowhere near that level of a fantasy player. So the fact that Derek Carr gets taken before Matthew Stafford, in my opinion, is idiotic. Now, Matthew Stafford goes down with an injury and he's useless. Let's hope Aaron Rodgers pans out. Sam Laporta, I mean, I get it, especially with weekly payouts, but rookie tight ends, just, I'm not taking them. Obviously, Kincaid went earlier in the draft, not taking them. Those kind of things I'm good on. I don't need the rookie wide or the rookie tight ends in my fantasy lineups. Even if Kincaid has a week with 2 or 3 touchdowns, he may end up with 2 or 3 touchdowns on the entire season. So for as high the ceiling, his floor is also as low as they can get, just being a rookie tight end in the NFL. I gotta say, I've completed one. I'm in 2 other slow drafts for this, which is terrible. The slow drafts are fun, but we should make them. I guess they have to do 8 hours just for sleeping schedules because that'd be kind of screwed. But let's just do 4 hours during like middle of the daytime and then 8 hours overnight. Like let's get these moving just a little bit faster. Like one of them, I have the 11th overall pick. I put in I got into it yesterday, a little after this time, and I'm still waiting on my first pick in that draft, which is fine. That's what the 8 hour drafts are for. And people are going to take their time. They're going to want to see what happens out there in the world of football if they can before they make a selection. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's go back. We're looking at 2-5-5-2. We're looking at 2-6-6-2 total. And we're going to go running back here. I don't love any of the options there. Actually, we're not. Okay, we're not doing that either. Let's see what tight end options we have. We're going to take Juwan Johnson. I mean, that was kind of just a not really being ready for the pick kind of pick, which is dumb on my part. But I can now get rid of tight ends, which I'm perfectly fine with. Those three tight ends I have for this kind of format are perfectly fine with me. Again, I get the NFC. I finally get an NFC tight end, which I'm happy about. On top of just, I'm not done with tight ends. I would say in a lot of these, I would strongly encourage you to go three tight end unless you grab a Kelsey or Mark Andrews. Even if you go Kittle, even if you go Hawkinson, I mean they have bad weeks. Kittle has a little bit of an injury history. The only two I trust as an elite tier are Kelsey and Andrews. So at this point, those are the only two that I'm taking at that kind of caliber of a player. The running back, wide receivers. I mean, I may honestly just like what other quarterbacks available? Brock Purdy. Like Sam Howell's the only quarterback I'm really interested in drafting at this point. I got 188, 197, and then 212. I guess maybe with 197, I go ahead and just swoop them up. So I need to find a running back or tight end for my running back or wide receiver for my next pick. And then the following pick, I'll snag up Sam Howell. Jeff Wilson, I don't really want. Hunter Renfro, don't really like too much. Chase Brown, I don't mind, but there's just a chance he's literally a completely useless pick. Uh, Joe Mixon did get injured last year, but do I think Chase Brown is Samaje Perine? Absolutely not. I've taken him in a lot of these drafts also. I have a pretty high exposure rate just because he's so far down here. Actually, I know who I'm taking if he's there. I'm taking McCole Hardman. And I know it's dumb and it's kind of late in the draft, and a lot of people are saying don't take McCole Hardman, but I don't like Allen Lazard personally as an NFL wide receiver. I know Aaron Rodgers loves him, yada, yada, yada. Don't care. He's okay. He's not special. I don't think McCole Hardman is special either, but he does have a special characteristic, and that's speed. So he's another guy that I think just he falls quite a bit in drafts. I already have Aaron Rodgers, so I'm kind of just stacking them up. Maybe they connect on two deep ones over the course of the season, during the same game next year. That's really my only hope. When you're getting this far in the draft, who can actually make an impact on their team is also what I'm really trying to look at. And I think McCole Hardman absolutely can make an impact on the Jets' offense. Again, Alan Lazard, meh. Randall Cobb, I think he's there or not. I don't know. Meh. Don't really care. Garrett Wilson, I care about. The running back room, I care about. After that, I don't care. Give me McCole Hardman extremely late in these drafts. I don't want an Alan Lazard. I don't want even a Tyler Conklin. I've taken a couple times just as a late tight end. I don't love that, but I mean, I saw what McCole Hardman could do with Patrick Mahomes. He wasn't special by any means from a fantasy perspective, but there were multiple weeks where he had multiple touchdowns, and in this kind of a format, that's all you're really looking for. And I stacked him up with his quarterback, who, like I said, I think could be extremely good this year. So I'm extremely happy with the McCole Hardman selection there. Yeah, like at this point, I'm not really looking at any other wide receivers. The running backs, like I'm going for a Zamir White or Israel Abanikanda, Abanakanda, or maybe even a Josh Kelly, something like that. I want one of these backup running backs that are going to come in and have a decent role, at least from what I believe. I guess Abanikanda, you don't really think that. He just had some positive things coming out of camp. I guess, am I really that worried about getting Sam Howell? Like, I think I'm going to run the risk of Sam Howell falling. No, I'm not. Let's get Sam Howell out of the way. Let's get the quarterbacks done. There's a couple running backs I'm okay with getting with my last pick, whereas Sam Howell is really the last quarterback that I wanted to take with this roster construction. I'll be right back. Okay. Claypool, Slayton, Kareem Hunt, Hunter Henry. Don't really have anything to say about any of those picks. Kareem Hunt, I'm fine with someone picking him up. The thing with Kareem Hunt is, I don't know what the Browns were asking for last year at the trade deadline, but it was pretty fucking clear that Kareem Hunt was out there to be had, and I thought he could have potentially from who? From Blancos from Aaron. Okay. I have no idea what the fuck that is. Nice little work email. You have no idea what it is. Love those feelings. Five running back, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5. Okay. Okay. I think that there's going to be a little bit of a running back run here, just because I can see like a decent amount of receivers. None of these guys are really looking at receivers, so we'll see actually what happens with the wide receivers and the running backs as we come down here. Devontae Ingram, I like that pick a lot. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, wouldn't mind pairing him up with um, James Conner, Josh Reynolds, Wandale Robinson. Take them, take them. Waste your last round pick, which is what I see that as. I guess it depends on how you look at it. Some people like to shoot for upside. Some people like to shoot for a backup. Some people like to shoot for a wide receiver 3 that could potentially have one great game and make an impact on the week where you actually end up winning something. I personally just anybody outside of maybe a Darren Waller in the Giants offense, pass catching offense, just don't care. Yeah, we got who we wanted falling to us here. So go ahead and give me a nice little Zamir White at the end. He's really the only guy that's behind Josh Jacobs at this point. Josh Jacobs is already risking, threatening to hold out. On top of if he gets banged up at all, I think Zamir White comes in and immediately becomes the number one running back option. So very happy to snag him up late. This is really just an insanely balanced team for me. I personally like it quite a bit. We'll wait for this to wrap up, and then we'll just do a quick breakdown. Maybe take a look and see, am I up on any of my other drafts? Hell no. Make your fucking pick. Come on. You got the last pick in the draft. Oh, yeah, he just cued somebody. That's what everyone does when they have the last pick. They just cue somebody and they just let the time run out. I'm trying to wrap up a video here, bud. Come on. Okay. All right. Weekly winners. All right, let's take a look real quick. We'll do a quick little rundown of our team, then we'll wrap this bad boy up for you guys. About an hour. I'm happy with that. Sorry about what I was expecting. Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Sam Howell as my quarterback core. Again, really trying to target some NFC teams in this draft. And then Aaron Rodgers, I thought was just a decent value for me. Running back, CMC, Tony Pollard, Cam Akers, James Conner. What a just stack of 4 running backs that I think week over week is just going to give me potential to have the number 1 running back on that given week. We have A-Chain who could potentially break out into something, as well as Zamir White. DK, Terry, DJ Moore. The auto-drafted DJ Moore still haunts me. Mike Evans, Tyquan Thornton, McCole Hardman. Don't love it, don't hate it. I think there's definitely a lot better wide receiver cores out there that you could have. But big play potential, 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 big play potential. Clear fucking target for this draft. I was looking for wide receivers that can make big plays for me. And then David Njoku, Chig, Jawan Johnson, Jawan Yula used to be a wide receiver, so he's a pretty small tight end, just made for pass catching, big play potential, big play potential, big play potential. So clearly was going for a certain target there in this draft. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys, share with friends, share with family, all that kind of good stuff. We're obviously hoping to get this channel growing as much as possible before the fantasy football season rolls around. Check out the podcast. We got a hockey podcast also dropping. So plenty of good stuff out there for you guys. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have any comments about anything, throw them down below. Hit me up in the Insta DMs. Hit me up in the Twitter DMs. Anything. I don't care. I love to interact with the people. But I appreciate it. Peace out. Have a good day.